this is Maya from the Worldwide Good News, and I have Brian Johnson with me, the chief philosopher of Philosopher's Notes. I can just talk and talk about you because for the first Philosopher's Notes, I had it in the gym every day, and I was listening in the gym to Philosopher's Notes, which was really amazing. But I've followed you since that days, and you've just been really a great inspiration to me. So thank you for talking to me today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your kind words. Thrilled to know we got to work out together.
Yeah, I even don't know where to start because there's so many amazing things you're doing. The Philosopher's Notes definitely is something that is just such a groundbreaking idea and helps people who, don't have time to really start getting that juicy information and living that optimal life. Yeah, let's start from there. What happened after Zads, and how did you start writing those wonderful notes?
Yeah, so was running Zods and got to a point where I realized it just wasn't quite feeling like my dharma at that time. And actually I was reading Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and his 7 spiritual laws, the law of dharma, the law of purpose. And he said, if you had all the time and all the money in the world, what would you do? And it was the first time in a number of years where my answer wasn't immediately continue doing what I was doing. And long story a little shorter, wound up deciding to sell Zods to Gayam, and that just came together really, really quickly and effortlessly, and then decided to give myself a PhD in how to live. So the idea was, if I could study anything, what would I study? And there wasn't a class out there in optimal living that integrated everything from creativity and nutrition and fitness to old school philosophy, positive psychology, and modern day self-development. So I decided to give myself my own PhD, and the master's was Philosopher's Notes. The idea was I needed to go through 100 of the classic optimal living books out there and distill them into, fun, easy to read, inspiring, practical summaries. And that became Philosopher's Notes, and also create a profitable business doing it. I wanted to demonstrate that you can get paid to do what you love to do as you, follow your bliss and live your dharma. So that's the short story on the origins of Philosopher's Notes.
That's an amazing story because it so inspired me the first time I heard about it, and because I knew who you were from Zads, I was like, okay, I love Zads. I thought it was a great idea, and I think it closed down about a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, I know. I was very sad about that, but I just let it go and continue to the next thing. And the Philosopher's Notes were such a great revelation because really when you work, who has time to sit down and read all of those? And a lot of them, they're great. And a lot of them actually went back and read the book, but not all of them would I want to read the book, but I want to know what they're about. And you've given people, an entry point to start living a better life and starting to get all that information. And that's just amazing. And this is, you truly live what you practice and what you say.
I try to. As we all know, as we're on this path, there's always a lot more work. But yeah, I'm having fun really immersing myself in it. And then as you described, just pulling out the big ideas. So the idea is that in every book, there's that section you're going to underline an asterisk and fold the page over on that can really change your life. And the idea was, how can I help people who are too busy to take the time to read all these books, get the essence of them? And then also, as you said, get introduced to books they may not otherwise have read, and also maybe filter some books to see which one's a good fit. So I've gotten a lot of people saying that they'd never heard of this author, now they're reading this book and they just love it. Because I obviously can only do so much in 6 pages. No. But you just described it beautifully. That was the idea. People who are busy, introduce them to new ideas. They can go deeper into ones that inspire them and go from there. And go to the gym, Go
to the gym, power walk. I mean, it's funny because now I'm talking to you, but you've been in my head playing on MP3s for a few years now. It's just this great, you speak beautifully, which really helps the notes and really helps the ideas get into your head. But then, when you hear somebody speak a lot in your head, you become my mentor around those notes.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah. And now you've actually taken a lot of the notes and created your own principles of optimal living, the 10 principles. And
the idea, again, was I'd give myself a PhD in optimal living and really understand what the greatest thinkers have to say about this. And the master's was Philosopher's Notes, these summaries, and then the dissertation was taking all of these ideas. There are over 1,000 big ideas in those 100 Philosopher's Notes, And and then creating a book and kind of a modern day philosophy that summarized all the best ideas into a really readable, fun, practical book. And that's what you just described. And what I saw was that when I looked at all these different authors across all different times, from Marcus Aurelius and the Buddha and Lao Tzu up to modern day positive psychologists like Martin Seligman and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi and Sonny Bobrisky and Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer, they're all saying very much the same things. And I saw that you can categorize their wisdom in about 10 different principles. So the first one, as I describe it, is actually, although love is one of the most important ones, I think that's number 9, just because this is, for me, kind of almost what brings it all to life. And the first one, as I describe it, is as optimism. So all these great teachers say the first thing you've got to be able to do is to control the contents of your consciousness. If you can't shape the contents of your mind, you're in trouble. And it doesn't matter how inspired you are or how loving you want to be. If you can't shape your mind and point it where you want, when you want, especially when you're frustrated, you can have a hard time. So that's principle number 1, optimism. Then principle number 2, when you realize you have more control over your thoughts than you thought before, well, what do you want in your life? What's your purpose? What's your dharma? That's principle number 2. All these great teachers say, we were born to do something. We have a unique mix of strengths and gifts. What are you here to do? That's purpose. And the third principle is self-awareness. It's really hard to understand what your purpose is in life if you don't understand yourself. So that's Socrates and the classic Greeks, Oracle of Delphi's, know thyself. Who are you? What are your strengths? What makes you feel alive? What do you want to do with this precious life of yours? So the first, optimism. Second, purpose. Third is self-awareness. And then we get into more practical stuff. Goals is principle number 4. So all that other stuff is nice, but it's kind of abstract. You've got to get practical with it. So what are your goals? It could be something as simple as getting out of bed tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off, or doing a triathlon, or starting a business, or starting a family, or starting to date more, whatever it is. What are your goals? And psychologists tell us it's so important that we have goals. Happy people have projects. They have goals that they're moving toward. That's principle number 4. Then 5 is taking action. So it doesn't matter if you have goals if you're not taking action. So I like to say jokingly, Guru Nike, just do it. Take action consistently. And then, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is energy. So you're going to have a hard time taking action consistently if you have a hard time getting out of bed. So optimizing your nutrition, optimizing your exercise, taking care of your money, make sure you're not in debt. Those sorts of things come into energy. And then we move from there to principle number 7. I kind of draw a circle. If we had a whiteboard, I'd be mapping all these out. I draw a circle around all of those and describe wisdom, which is the 7th principle. And the idea is we want to approach life as our classroom. And every opportunity gives us an opportunity to embrace our ideals, to practice the stuff we believe in. That's principle 7. Principle number 8, but I kind of draw a box around all of them. And then that's courage is number 8. And courage is one of my favorite words. It comes from the Latin word for heart. So just as your heart pumps blood to all of your organs and your arms and your legs, courage is the virtue that vitalizes all the other virtues. It's what gives the other virtues energy. If you don't have courage to stand up for what you believe in, or to pursue your goals and all these things, the other stuff doesn't really matter, right? You need to have that courage. That's courage. And then on that box, top is courage, on the bottom is love. So none of that matters. If all of that is just about you, that's just a nice recipe for narcissism. How do we expand into the world? And starting with loving ourselves and loving our families and communities and overall world, and really embracing that. So that's the 9th principle. Then the 10th principle, which I kind of call the 0 principle, and the 10th principle, which is at the very middle of everything. And it's the kind of expanding circumference. That's in theos. And for me, all those other principles are really just a way so that we can connect to the highest within us. So in theos are the 2 little Greek words that make up the word enthusiasm. So when you have enthusiasm, you have God within you. That's theos. And for me, that's what it's all about. Ultimately, my life is about how do I plug in and shine to the divine within me and live with a radiant enthusiasm that I only get when I've lived with those other 9 principles. So how do I do that? And how do my wife and I, who are really passionate about this, share this with individuals so they can do the same thing? Those are the 10 principles.
Those are amazing. I mean, I really, really resonate with each and every one of them. And in my path, I've noticed how I'm starting to have a great understanding that each and every one of what you just said is what it is. I mean, it's great that you've synthesize that for people to live their life full out and to give them such guidance. And it's amazing. And I'm going to be downloading the book finally because I've just downloaded the Philosopher's Notes too.
Right on.
Right, and start listening to that.
Cool.
That is the truth. When you start actually going through all of the great thinkers, they each look at one angle of what you just described, and you've actually wonderfully put for people a easy step-by-step look at what you can do in your life to achieve, and in theos, to achieve the divine within, the Buddha within, or whatever word they want to use if they're atheists, just whatever works for them. And that's really a great gift. I noticed on your Facebook page, because I've just seen that movie as well as you just saw I Am, and I saw it this weekend as well, and it's a wonderful film. And one of the things they talk about there is community, the wanting to be together. So you've actually given us a step-by-step way for finding ourselves, so then we can shine in the community. And that's what I really got out of that film. And listening to what you said, I'm like, wow, that all the pieces are coming together.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I really want to thank you for that. So what are your next plans for the future? What are you cooking up for us?
Yeah, well, we're having fun. So I'm working, as you know, on the second volume of Philosopher's Notes. So I did 100. Now I'm working on another 100. We just shared we're up to 50 now. I've actually got about 5 more I'm working on, and I plan to have the next 50 done by the end of the year. And then we're also really excited about one of the things that's a core part of our lives is meditation. So we've been getting a lot more people asking us, well, how do I start a meditation practice? And so we created something called Blissitations that we're really, really excited about. And the idea is to make meditation fun, practical, kind of sexy, and just to make it something that isn't so esoteric and kind of out there, but just something that's we can do day in and day out and get some amazing benefits from, not just the spiritual, but also the very practical of just getting out of that fight or flight response of being kind of stressed all day long in traffic and going to and from work, and eliciting what Herbert Benson calls the relaxation response, where we're able to just check in and relax. And it's amazing what we know scientifically about how that improves our immune system and overall well-being, and then also shaping our mind. Of course, meditation it's kind of like going to the gym for our minds. So I'm really excited about helping people embrace that more. And then, of course, the spiritual elements as well. So Blissitations is something we're really excited about. And yeah, we've got other stuff kind of percolating, but that's the idea. And again, for us, it's all about how do we embrace these ideas and really live with integrity, and then hopefully demonstrate some of the ideas in a powerful, creative way, and create a business that we're proud of. And as you know, we've got the pick your price model and scholarships, and really kind of merge. I'm passionate about conscious business and conscious capitalism. We view our business as really more of a ministry than anything else, honestly. Is how do we bring in that ethos of a nonprofit and of a church in some ways with a business and structure. And we're really having fun exploring different ways we can do that. And that's been a lot of fun over the last, couple of years.
And that's great. Already talking about conscious capitalism or sacred commerce. I heard the word as well used. I read a book about sacred commerce, really showing that. I mean, this is from reading and listening to you for a few years now, really showing that walking your heart, your true purpose, and then creating a business around it, and having that business be sustainable for you, the environment, the world, is something that is doable. And you're actually a living proof that it's doable.
Yeah, and we're excited to continue to demonstrate that. And I've been inspired by a lot of great entrepreneurs and individuals who I have a great deal of respect for, like John Mackey over at Whole Foods, and what his team has done with Whole Foods is something that really inspires us. And but yeah, that's a core part of what we're excited about. And over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years, we're very enthusiastic about what we can do and how we can share some goodness.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has just been amazing to just talk to you and see somebody who's living his purpose and actively and really with intention and consciousness going forward for it. I've sent your stuff to a lot of people to inspire them. So I know people are being inspired by just how you are, how you're being, and your stand and choice in life. So I want to really thank you and acknowledge you for
Well,
that.
I appreciate it. I wish I could reach through and give you a hug. Thank you.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Ever in Northern California, I'll take you to my favorite Cafe Gratitude, my favorite
Oh, yeah.
vegan place.
Well, that's one of our favorites. They just opened one. We're actually in Los Angeles now. They just opened one down here.
Oh.
So it's one of our favorite spots now.
Yeah, I actually live a block away from the original one. I'm very fortunate.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your time today, Brian.
Thank you, Maya. I appreciate your invitation.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for more notes and waiting for more exciting stuff and to follow your bliss and to follow your optimal living.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Thank you. This was Maya from the Worldwide Good News.